Hey everyone, Tony D with the final hot take of the evening. Sorry you didn't get to see little Joan today. She's so tuckered out. Um, Geez, just been so much going on. There was a guy who got hit by the brick in Baltimore. If you haven't seen that, that was also part of yesterday's news. Last night, the rioters went to Ted Wheeler's condo and actually fired fireworks at it in an attempt to maybe burn it down. But, it's like Tim Pool covered this, and I know I keep covering a lot of his stuff. I watch his videos. But I'm not covering it. I'm more opinion guy. But, my one addendum to it, while Tim is saying, oh, this is civil war, I don't agree with that. I don't think it's going to be a civil war. I think to actually have a civil war, you're going to have factions fighting in the streets, and you would have to recognize those factions, and they would have to slaughter each other. I don't think we'll ever get to that point. We may get to some sort of weird, complicated point, as Tim says, where some states, they kind of have morality policing, and other states they don't. But that will end quickly because few people are going to tolerate morality policing. Few people are going to tolerate the wackadoos in Portland and Minneapolis and all these other places and their reimagining of government. How's that working out, Ted, by the way? Not so good. I mean, people are shooting fireworks at your condo. I don't think they're reimagining racial justice with you. I mean, I'm just saying. Just saying. When they're trying to burn down your place with you in it, maybe it's time to say, I'm not doing a good job here. Maybe it's time to say to those protesters, F you. F you. I'm going to turn on the cops. I'm going to turn them up from 2 to 11. And I'm going to throw all you idiots in jail. Now, it may be too late for you to do that because you've allowed this to go on for so long. Now, if you go to those prosecutors and DAs and judges and say, hey, you got to put these people in jail, they'll go, oh, no, we don't. No, this is working out just the way we thought it would. Because some of those idiots apparently have joined up with the Marxists too. I was reading about the governor of Oregon, and, she had very woke credentials as well. The whole state apparently is trying to go woke. And it's just not going to work out because the people in the woke areas are always going to be those people in the big cities, right? And now the big cities are so unlivable, people are fleeing them. So now there's not going to be any money. They're all going to collapse. And what will rise from the ashes will not be, oh, let's do more of that. Although it might happen in Portland, Minneapolis, and Seattle because those cities are going by way of Detroit, meaning they're not really going to be cities anymore. What will happen is the businesses that fled those places will go to nearby cities where they will grow in size. Or they'll go to smaller cities you never even heard of, and suddenly there'll be cities like 5 years down the road. And Portland will just be an S-hole that nobody goes to anymore. My worry is, and this is a real worry, that someone like Ted Wheeler is going to get himself killed. I mean, I was watching some of the videos of him going out into the crowd. This idiot is amongst the people, and the people do not like him, okay? And he continues to double down. I don't know if he thinks they like him or if he considers himself sort of the fatherly figure of Antifa or something. These people are idiots, Ted. They do not understand when you shoot fireworks at a building and throw flaming garbage into the lobby, you could set the place ablaze. You could. Now, it's unlikely you would because, with modern technology, everything's so flame retardant now that it's hard to set a place on fire unless you hit those curtains. Somebody puts out some silk curtains and you hit those and they go right up and then, it goes up onto the ceiling and it's allowed to burn and long enough for something to really catch. But even that, I mean, they have fire suppressive systems in apartment buildings and condos. It's really tough, but it still doesn't mean it's not arson. I mean, these people are, in New Jersey, it's not even legal to have fireworks, period. I mean, much less light them off and aim them at buildings. You gotta, at the very least, you should put a moratorium on fireworks within city limits. I mean, can't you arrest anybody? Can't you put anybody in jail and prosecute them and give them some fines, something? I mean, at this point, what does this have to do with racial justice? What do these idiots coming to your condo, lighting fireworks, have to do with BLM or George Floyd or Jacob Blake or any of these people? Nothing. Nothing. They're just causing wanton destruction because you won't stand up to it. New Jersey, we got a pretty woke idiot governor, but he don't let this crap slide. Now, maybe that's because Antifa is considered a terrorist organization in New Jersey, and they just don't even come here. They only do so much. They'll do some phone calls, like when they shut down Tim Pool's Minds event, and they just moved it over to Philly. Maybe. Or maybe it's just that the cops here haven't been completely neutered. Actually not at all really in New Jersey that I'm aware of. They had a thing in Atlantic City, but as far as I know, they attempted to arrest people and stop it at some point. Or maybe they didn't. Maybe they let it go. I don't know. I wasn't really there, but it was smaller. It was smaller than some of the events that went on. They didn't burn down the stores. They looted some of them. And a lot of these businesses, they're so big and corporate, they'll just write the whole thing off. They say, well, we got insurance or whatever. And that's what the protesters say. And for the big chain stores, that's true. But for a mom and pop store, that is absolutely not true. And you are destroying those people's lives. But for like Armani or something, that store, they'll just close it up. Not that the people who would loot it would ever shop at a store like that. But I'm really worried that people will be targeted and killed. Someone like Ted Wheeler, because he is who he is. They have gone to the mayor's houses, and these mayors have been stupid enough to entertain this idea. Only Lori Lightfoot has at least had the common sense to say, oh, not at my house, which looks incredibly hypocritical, by the way. But, at least she protected her own home. Jenny Durkin, they spray painted her front door and went to city council people's houses. They tried to go after the sheriff. This is not the first time they went to Ted Wheeler's place. They set up the Chaz there. I mean, they're escalating and escalating. The next step is they're going to do something to hurt you, I think. And I wouldn't want to see that. Despite the fact that I think you're an idiot, I think you should get on board the train that leads to law and order. And all you have to do is call Trump in and quell the riots. That's it. Once they come in, it's over. One of the reasons these riots immediately evaporate the moment the National Guard comes in is because the only reason they've gone on this long is because no one stops them. Once someone shows up who they actually have to fear, they stop. There's no reason to go out. And they're going to try to wait them out. And then, depending on how long the National Guard stays, like in Philly, it didn't take that long. Because eventually it stopped, it went on for what did it go on for, like a week or a month maybe? Not even. Somewhere in between there. But once the National Guard came in and secured things, after about a week, I don't know if they're still on the streets, but, things have calmed. They're opening things back up in Philadelphia. They're opening the restaurants and whatnot. They're even opening them here in New Jersey. I don't know what you're doing in Portland or Oregon. I assume everything's closed up tighter than a drum and you're screaming, ah, beer virus. But, it's time for this to be over. And it's going to be over on November 3rd. And you're not doing yourselves any favors. I mean, you're not helping the DNC by falling on this grenade again and again and again. You're just endangering yourself and the lives of the people around you. Because when that mob finally goes, F it, let's get them. They're not going to only hurt you, but your staff, the people around you, and they may really do something terrible. And that unfortunately is going to be the end result of just allowing Antifa to get this big. Because as it shrinks back down, and I believe it is starting to shrink because now they've finally gotten, a significant portion of these guys and thrown them to the federal wolves, as it were. Each time you remove someone from the pool of Antifa, the remaining members are collectively more dangerous. So when they get down to a couple of hundred, and most of them will probably still be in Portland, they're going to be some of the most dangerous leftists in America. And I don't mean that as being flip. I mean that to be true. It's going to be, we've already had a guy with a gun. We've had guys who have had long criminal records who have no problem hurting people, now killing people. Those final 200 members, they're going to be your worst ones. Those are going to be the do or die guys. What are you going to do about them? They're not going to listen to you. They haven't listened to you. They don't like Biden. They're not voting for him. None of those people are going to vote for Biden. So you've appealed to an audience that hates you. Are you going to wait until they burn down your condo, possibly with you in it, and then finally say, well, I guess I'll throw these guys in jail? That'll look pretty hypocritical if you haven't been doing that all along. You have to uphold the law, Ted. The law has nothing to do with racial justice. It's justice. It's just justice. People deserve justice of all races. Racial justice is racist justice. You're asking for special rules based on race. Stop doing that. That doesn't work. No one's behind it except you and a bunch of ideologues. Just have justice for all. Remember that? Justice for all people. Justice is blind. Justice doesn't see race. No, that's why she has the blindfold. Justice is blind, Ted. There's no such thing as racial justice.